Well, November's where we find out the pretenders and the contenders, and I can kind of define that a little bit if I do hit on my walk that line picks. Of course, last week we kind of got walked by the Lions, 3-12. Rough. See, here's the thing though. For all of you guys that are loyal around here and have been around for a little while, and maybe you're new. And if you're new, think about clicking that like button. After all, we're not giving this as professional advice for you to use your hard-earned money on these picks, but rather it's competition. 2 weeks have ruined this season for me, if I'm being completely honest for you, as far as my picks go, my record goes. Week 1, I was minus 11. 11 under 500. 7-18 week 1. Definitely bit off more than I could chew with my picks in locks. What can you say? Oh, well. Last week, 9 games under 500. 9 games, 3-12. Horrible, atrocious. I thought going into the night slate, this was already going to be a bad week, right? But I'm like, we'll hit a couple of these. Cincinnati plus 10. I'm feeling pretty good about them keeping it close. They did not. Tennessee minus 3. I think they're a much better team against Oklahoma. They were for 90% of the snaps. We already talked about that. But hey, we bounce back here because here's the thing. When you're going to see my record right now, I just told you week 1, we were 11 games back from 500 in that week. Week 10, we were 9 games back from 500. Combining those 2 weeks, that is 20 games below 500. But for the season, only 1 game. So I hope that the most loyal listener, if you do decide to tail all of these picks, and again, I tell you not to, take what you like. This is just what I like. But if you would have tailed, I hope you were busy last week and didn't get to the video. And I hope you were busy week 1 and didn't get to the video, but then tailed all the other ones sandwiched in there. Because if you take out those 2 weeks, we are 19 games above 500. But you can't do that. You just can't do that. Those weeks count, and those atrocious weeks have to end. So we need to be done getting walked by the lines and walk that line. And that's what we're going to try to do. Here are the locks this week in week number 11. We are starting with 2 Sunbelt games. I love James Madison. They're a wagon for me. I don't know why I didn't decide to try to do it early and lock them up last week during a weeknight game where I was all over them against Texas State. This game's going to be close at halftime. And then James Madison's going to outscore him 35-0 in the second half. That's just what they do. James Madison, in my opinion, is the best group of 5 team out there. Now, the committee's not going to give them the respect. They're not going to have the resume, which is the biggest reason why they don't get that type of respect. But at the end of the day, I love this James Madison team. And Marshall, they had their little peak on this season. Well, now they're coming back down to earth with a loss against Coastal, another game that I was completely on. I have correctly identified these 2 teams most of the year. I think I got this one. Hopefully, it works out in my favor. James Madison, minus 13.5. Southern Miss, minus 4.5. The 2 top dogs in the Sun Belt is JMU, Southern Miss. We're waiting until the end of the season to do the week 0 win-loss totals and recording that out, because a lot of the teams that have already overachieved compared to my expectations have already hit, and that would move us further. I just think that would be unfair to jump on it before. Southern Miss has already hit the over, though, so that was one that I've already gotten right from the preseason. I love this Southern Miss team. They're the favorites to win the West, and they could play spoiler to James Madison if chaos erupts in the American. And San Diego State doesn't necessarily take care of business down the stretch. James Madison is going to be happy to hop in there. Southern Miss, I think, is James Madison's biggest threat. And I think that they're going to lay the lumber on the road in Jonesboro, Arkansas. UConn, take them, plus 9.5. I think this is a 1-score game. I think UConn could potentially pull this out. I don't see this Duke defense that has some good players, has not played great this year. I don't see this Duke defense consistently stopping UConn. UConn has been playing maybe their best ball, too, as of late. They've really bounced back from the lulls that they kind of had in early October. They look much better now. They started out the season pretty well. I think that Syracuse loss did a lot to them. They struggled against Delaware. They've bounced back ever since then, and I think they're playing really good football right now. UConn sitting there at 6-3. Not too many people know about the Huskies. West Virginia, what a win last week against Houston. Colorado's a mess, and now they're coming into Morgantown. I knew that a good pick would be Rich Rod in November. He would get this team going, and Scotty Fox looked much more comfortable last week against Houston. I am taking West Virginia -6.5. They're going to blow Colorado out. Ohio State -29.5 against Purdue. This should be a 40-point blowout, something like 45-3 on the road. Look, Purdue's not that bad. They're much improved. I think last week was a huge emotional road loss for them. I think that was a tough one to take against Michigan when they thought they had chances and opportunities that Michigan gave them, and they didn't take advantage. I think this is a hangover spot for Purdue, even at home. I'm taking Ohio State and trusting in them. Eastern Michigan, we're taking the -2.5 against Bowling Green. A huge problem on offense that Bowling Green has right now, and they're playing against Chris Creighton, whose team is going to battle for him down the stretch. I mean, they have not had a good season whatsoever. Their bowl hopes are lost. And so now you're looking at Eastern Michigan as a potential spoiler team for some of these guys. I think Bowling Green going up to Ypsilanti, a little bit sloppy conditions, not going to be able to move the ball. Eastern Michigan is more built for this style of game than Bowling Green is. I'm taking Eastern Michigan -2.5. Jacksonville State. I should have really just put in Jacksonville State money line. And if they win by 1, I'm going to be ticked because this is a pick'em game according to Vegas. Jacksonville State's going to win this game. They are the much better team. Much, much, much better team. UTEP, a little bit more life ever since on offense, ever since they benched Malachi Nelson. But I really trust in this Jack State defense. I think they're maybe one of the 2 top defenses in this Conference USA. So I am taking Jacksonville State all day long to go and get a dub against UTEP. And you don't have to, it smells to me like it's really stinky. I thought about avoiding it, but I trust in Cam Cook and that offense to pop some explosives. UTEP not being able to keep up. We'll see if that ages well. Going back to the Sun Belt, I'm taking Texas State on the road -2.5 against Louisiana. I just don't think this Louisiana offense can keep up. I get Texas State's defense is not good. It is very bad. However, Louisiana does not have the firepower on the offensive side of the ball to keep up with Texas State, whose offense has still played well. I mean, James Madison made adjustments like they do and shut them down in the second half. But the first half, Texas State was moving the ball at will. I think Texas State, long week of a break, they're going to be able to get it done on the road in Lafayette. LSU +10.5 against Alabama. I think they could potentially win this game. I did the preview, and if you haven't seen it already, go back and watch that preview. We did 4 games, extensive breakdowns, the biggest 4 games, in my opinion, of the week in the top 25. I think LSU is going to keep it close, and the only thing that they're going to lose with is Ty Simpson being clutch, that crowd taking over, and a tough situation for their offense at the end of the game. I think this is a 1-score game, though, which means LSU has a chance to win if the ball bounces their way. I truly think that the interim coach, the players did not like Brian Kelly. Former players have made that very clear, and obviously current players aren't going to speak out about it too much. And Harold Perkins opting out, that's one thing, but LSU is going to be fine. And that defense is much improved, and they're going to give Alabama fits. I think LSU keeps this one close. UCLA, take them. All right? I watched that game against USC. The drop-off from Dylan Raiola to TJ Lateef, I mean, yeah, you're going to have to prepare for more quarterback run game. That offensive line is not good. The other thing about Nebraska, haven't been able to establish a run, their defense is not all that good. And UCLA, at their best on offense, shows good balance and Nico's legs. I think those 2 things can create problems for Nebraska. Their secondary also coming off of a great game. I think Nico's going to be able to expose that, and there's too much of a factor in trust in that defense that has not played great all year in Nebraska. And for me, they're one of the teams Nebraska is that locked up the team total over 7.5. If Nebraska wins, me personally, I'm not going to be too upset about it because one of my other locks is looking much better if Nebraska ends up winning this game. So I'll take UCLA minus 1.5, excuse me, and we'll see if that pays out. Finally, we added an extra game. I'll get to that in the end. Hawaii +7 versus San Diego State. I like them to win. If you look at San Diego State's defense, they're impressive against bad offenses, young quarterbacks early in the season. Now you're getting a situation here where Hawaii is more built to give San Diego State's defense a lot of problems. Micah Alejado is playing the best football he's played all year. This Hawaii team is red hot. This is going to be a close game down the stretch, and I'm taking Hawaii to win and ruin the playoff hopes that San Diego State has. And yes, I'm telling you, San Diego State has playoff hopes. They only got one loss right now. Washington, Wisconsin, I'm taking the under 44.5. This is a huge weather play. And the other part about it is I just don't trust either offense against a good defense. I really don't trust Wisconsin against the top 50 defense. And I think that if Washington can establish the run game, they are very handcuffed and limited. Well, Wisconsin, they have one thing that they're really good at, stopping the run. They were able to do it pretty well against Ohio State. They were able to do it against Oregon for the most part. So I think that this Washington team is going to struggle to move the ball, and this is going to be a sloppy game, and you're looking at a 27-10 type of win at its highest scoring, in my opinion, for Washington. Wake in Virginia, under 48.5. I'm taking two angles at this. If Wake is going to keep this close and put Virginia on upset alert, they're going to be able to stop this Virginia offense that kind of found its groove last week at California. Or Virginia is going to be able to shut down Wake Forest offense that is anemic at times, really a lot of the time. And Virginia is going to blow them out and win something like 38-3. So that's why I like the 48.5 under. I mostly think that Wake Forest's defense is going to keep them in this game, and you're looking at a game that's going to be like 20-13 here that Virginia pulls out close. But I'm not confident in Wake Forest after last week. FAU, I'm taking the -3 versus Tulsa. That offense has really been clicking. They're at home for this one. Tulsa also kind of tapering off. These are two first-year head coaches going at it. I like Zach Kitley's group to get it done at home. Kansas, Arizona, I'm taking the over 56.5. I really think Kansas is very explosive on offense, and they have a chance to really rebound and regain their composure and get their season back in this one on the offensive side of the ball. But on the other hand, this Kansas defense is terrible. So I'm not confident Kansas will keep this close or anything, but I do think Arizona is going to score a lot of points, which means for Kansas to stay in this game, they're going to have to score a lot of points. And that's why I'm on the over 56.5 in Tucson. Finally, I'm taking Iowa +6.5. This is going to be an ugly game, a low scoring. I don't trust Oregon's offense right now. They have not played well since that Indiana game. I am taking Iowa to win outright, but if you have the cushion of 6.5 that Vegas is giving you, I'm taking it. So there you go. Those are the picks for the week. I am super excited to try to bounce back. And like I said, this is not betting advice. This isn't something where you should put your money on all 16 plays. I'm not asking you guys to do this. This is more a competitive, test the ball knowledge kind of thing. See if you kind of have nobody should be reliant on these picks, including myself, and I'm not. So make sure you are smart with it if there's stuff that you like. This is not gambling advice. These are just picks and ball talk, straight up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Make sure you guys enjoy the weekend of college football. I will be off of YouTube until probably Monday. So subscribe, like the videos, check out the whole week's worth of videos that we have. We posted 4 of them, giving you my top 25, my reaction to the college football playoff, committee's rankings, and a breakdown of the playoff picture. And then we previewed 4 of the biggest games and gave you this video here. So make sure you guys check all that stuff out. Without further ado, I'm going on vacation. So I'll see you guys on TikTok. I'll be posting on TikTok even through vacation. So make sure you guys are paying attention over there. Follow me on TikTok. I pointed the wrong way. Follow me on TikTok at Bash the CFB Show. I'll see you guys next time.